talk a little bit about your military career from where you first started and where you ended up, when you enlisted to when you were discharged, and everywhere in between?
Okay, I was in the reserve officer training for ROTC at Norwich University, which is a military university in Vermont. And at graduation, I was commissioned as second lieutenant. And shortly after graduation, I went into the service and went to the basic armor course, which was tanks in Fort Knox, Kentucky. And I was interested in flying, so I applied for flight school and was accepted and became a Army aviator with single engine aircraft at that time. And subsequent to that, I went to helicopter school and became a helicopter pilot as well. And I flew in this country as well as my tour in Germany. I flew the border in Germany, East German, West German, Czechoslovakian border. Did that on a daily basis. And got out of the service overseas and traveled around Europe for a couple of months and then came back to the States.
My grandfather started at Norwich University in Vermont. From there, he went to Fort Knox, Kentucky for basic armor training. After basic armor training, he went to helicopter school, flew in America first, then was stationed in Germany, where he flew the border of East and West Germany and Czechoslovakia. What was happening during this time was known as the Cold War. After World War II, Germany was divided into two different parts. They became essentially known as East and West Germany. The Soviet Union had taken West Germany as their own. The Allies had East Germany. My grandfather's duty was to go on patrol with his helicopter and watch the border between the two. Describe a normal day where you were stationed, or did it vary from day to day? Were there different activities every day?
No, there were different activities. In Europe, when I was flying a border, you did it twice a day. Got up, got dressed, and a normal physical ed, and would fly the border probably 2 hours in the morning, and again 2 more hours in the afternoon. So it was a pretty standard day every day.
What was the most action you saw while stationed, besides seeing the East German troops?
There was no physical action.
Physical action?
No action.
Where were you stationed during the Cold War? I believe you said Germany?
Yes, I was stationed at Fort Meade, Maryland, and then I was sent overseas and spent was in several posts in Germany.
Where were these posts?
They were near the border, East German, West German, Czechoslovakian border, in Bavaria primarily. Bamberg, Bayreuth, and Coburg. So I was, moved around a little bit. Nuremberg.
Nuremberg.
Which was a very interesting city.
Although my grandfather did border patrol, he never found any action on the border. The only action was seeing East German troops. Did you ever think the Cold War would turn into more than what it was, more than a standoff? And did you think the chances of going into battle were higher or lower as it progressed?
I thought it was probably lower. One of my responsibilities, as I said, was flying the border, and occasionally we would see a few East German soldiers, but nothing scary. No. There was a concern about the Russians, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Cold War scenario. But we weren't concerned. My friends and myself weren't concerned about a war.
Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Although my grandfather did not stay stationed in Germany for the entire Cold War, when he got out, he was still involved in the Army Reserves. He was on call for Vietnam, an outcome of the Cold War, but he had done his required service and was exempt from service. Upon coming to the Vietnam War, how were you excused from that?
I had served, as I think I had 6 years of service, which has completed my responsibility. I had the opportunity to go to Vietnam as this is prior to the war, kind of going over as a trainer, which I opted not to do because I had already served enough time to get out of the service. I never was going to make the service a full-time career.
My grandfather served in the Army for 6 years, and when he left the Army, he left as a captain. What rank were you when you entered the Army and when you left the Army?
I entered the Army as a second lieutenant and got out of the Army as a captain. My next promotion would have been a major, but I got out prior to that time.
The Cold War was resolved peacefully more or less in Germany and Berlin. There was never any combat engagement that went on overall, and overall the end of the Cold War was very easygoing. My grandfather had a very interesting story in the United States Army during the Cold War. Going from Norwich University to Fort Knox to pilot school to all the various German cities, his military service was something to be proud of. How would you sum up your entire military career?
Very interesting. I learned a lot. I learned how to pilot an airplane and a helicopter. Made a lot of good friends. And it was an enjoyable time.
All right. That sums it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.